We're back again to My Name is Business with our guest, Dr. Nabil Mawla, the Business and Projects Development Consultant. Welcome again, sir, with us.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for you and the audience.
Thank you. Well, we just, we talked about just at the beginning, a lot of things happening together, but then everything is interrelated, whether we like it or don't like it. Well, everything is interrelated. What's happening in Russia and Ukraine is related to what's happening in the world, is related to what's happening to us, whether positive or negative, some opening opportunities or closing some doors, opening other doors. So it's all affecting us and affecting the world, and economically speaking, definitely creating, well, there is like the ghost of famine for some people, that, shortage of wheat and so on and so forth, especially that these two countries are the main exporters of wheat and other things. And not only that, we just came out, or not really totally came out, of the COVID-19 pandemic that is affected the whole world, affected the economies, affected everything. So how do you see all that in order?
Let's start with COVID-19. The whole world has waked up one day while the whole world was shut down. That means nothing in, nothing out. China is the tycoon of the world for economy and for the trade. All of a sudden, they have been affected by or contracted by COVID-19 and started over there. Subsequently, we have suffered, the whole world, not only Egypt, the whole world has been suffering from the supply chain. The supply chain means there is someone who really produce, and someone trade, and someone buy, and in between transporting and arranging for the product to be picked up from one location to the other. That has been severely affected during COVID-19. While we were recovering from COVID-19, all of a sudden, the whole world waked up again for a Russia-Ukrainian war or crisis. Let's call it crisis better. And that caused a hell of problems. The problems were actually hit in the energy sector and also in the strategic commodities sector, which is wheat and corn. So you can imagine 1/3 of the production for the whole world and the supply
interrupted
has been out of order.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, prices has been increased. Interest banks has been crazy. Supply and demand, re-engineering the whole market for the whole world. Inflation has hit worldwide countries. Even European countries has suffered and still has been suffering a lot from such problems and crises, of course. That likewise including Egypt, of course, as a part of the whole world, and also as Suez Canal is linking east and west and so on. That means we, including the whole world, or the whole world including us, are really suffering from such a problems, and affected a lot of problems for the local economy, for the local lifestyle and so on. The Russia-Ukrainian crisis has caused a price increase in wheat and shortage in supply for the wheat, for the corn, and problems occurring or happening between Russia and European countries, including USA also, for the supply of the gas, for the supply of oil, and so on. And there is a war has been declared for the whole world. Who is going, what kind of sanctions the whole world is trying to put over Russia, and what's Russia and its allies are going to do. In between, lots of economic crises are happening. If any country has not actually put plans in advance or strategic planning for how to overcome such a problems, it will really suffer, and even the country itself could be shut down. You can imagine the type of inflation which European countries are suffering from right now. USA, UK. UK President, Prime Minister has declared clearly we cannot support every citizen right now. Joe Biden for USA, he said, I don't have a magic key for lowering down oil prices or solving all the problems at one moment. I don't have that switch. Those are giant countries and giant economic. France is still suffering a lot. Egypt is suffering likewise any other country. But actually, locally, our government is taking steps into the direction of solving or trying to overcome such problems.
Definitely. Well, lots of decisions have been taken. It was during Ramadan and before Ramadan, with all the events taking place, and people were just scared. Wow, the food and all that. It's like a month it's a whole month festival. People just, since we can visit each other right now after the COVID-19 and the time we could not have banquets, but then this is happening, invitations and all that, and people like to eat well after the fast and all that. This is a customary thing for long years. This is what's happening, but everything was available. All the directives and assignment to the government, and everything would be available. While Europe, they would look, for one, oil bottle, and then it's not in the market, or like imagine that you have to go to the supermarket and they tell you only one bottle or two bottles.
Empty shelves, yes.
Exactly. Or if you find any, it's like you have a limit to what you can take with you. So this is not what we have here, because people here buy a lot actually, and in food, there's just people were not really thinking of it. So I think we don't have the same circumstances that are in Europe. Here we do have lavishness, and well, the government is working hard on making everything available for the people. Right now, we do have this, like this. What's happening is affecting others and definitely affecting us in a way. The government is working hard to provide the wheat and all that, the aish, or the bread, that is the livelihood. Even the name aish, living, is an important thing, of course, in dietary supplement and a basic thing that is put on the table, on the Egyptian table. Well, other people can't find this luxury. It's really hard. The president gave directives and assigned the government for lots of things and decisions, all ways of living actually, during the iftar that happened in Ramadan, the family iftar. Well, 16 directives or assignments to the government, more to just in different walks of life here. So how do you see that related to all that? While of course, when this is happening, some people are just like they have nothing in their minds. They're thinking everything is easy, and it's not that we are just fighting terrorists out there and not letting them come in Egypt, and minimizing any effect. While we hear problems here and there in the United States, even shootouts at schools and killing children and so on and so forth. This is like disastrous. We are just trying to minimize any kind of effects that will come from any other countries that are suffering from terrorism to come to our borders, so we're stopping that. Projects are going on. A lot of development is taking place because we are racing against time in order to reach what we want to reach, the place that's supposed to be Egypt's place, at the top, in the Middle East, definitely.
Yeah. Actually, let's confirm the following. Let's admit that there is a real problem, a real risk worldwide in worldwide countries, globally, and it is not an easy job for the government, for the Egyptian government, for making everything or most of the things are available. So whatever decrees, whatever laws, whatever directives, guiding, whatever we want to talk about, or the government is doing, we've got to know that it is not an easy job. and the world is experiencing real problems, and we've got to know that. Maybe it's getting to get worse in the near future, or in the far future. It is expected for the Russian-Ukrainian war, which is affecting the whole world economy and everything, till end of the year. That means we still have 6 months experiencing actual direct causes for the crisis and the problems. That means we've got to rethink about our lifestyle. We've got to rethink about how we are expending and spending and experiencing our own life for helping ourselves and helping the country to overcome such a problem. On the level of the presidency, actually during the iftar, which you have just mentioned right now, President El-Sisi actually he has declared that he has declared 16 points or 16 directives to be followed for his instructions for the government to be done. The first one was actually for supporting the investment environment in Egypt, and to tell the investors worldwide that we have transparency and this is what we are going to do. That's why he gave his directions or instructions for the Prime Minister Madbouli for holding an international conference stating what's Egypt going to do regarding the crisis, how we are acting and reacting and proacting for what we should do during next period from that month, which was last month. Also, he gave his directive for the government and all concerned agencies to enhance all aspects of support to provided wheat farmers. That means when there is an alarm for the wheat shortage in Russia and Ukraine and whatever the source we used to buy from, so there is a problem with the wheat. So he gave his directions for the government to support the wheat farming and cultivation in Egypt by supporting the wheat farmers at his full, for supporting and motivating them for having much more lands and support and subsidy for having the self-sufficiency in the near future. President Sisi, the next stage, he said, the next stage will witness double support for the private sector, which is private sector in Egypt is playing a very important role in the investment in economy development and so on. So he said next stage will witness a double support for the private sector to play the role in developing the economy. And he said also, I will put all possible capabilities to provide a necessary environment to achieve this. That means he's telling the investors locally and internationally that Egyptian government is supporting and will keep supporting and will give the full support for the investors and for the investment, whatever the source of investment is, it's talking about in the private sector. So he's giving a confident message for worldwide countries and for the investors. Also, President El-Sisi, he said, launching an initiative to support and localize national industries, to rely on the local products by strengthening the role of private sector for expanding industrial base on large and medium industries. Also, that means he is giving a message. We are opening and supporting the industries in Egypt on all levels, because we would like to rely on our local products and we don't want to import much more. That means he is playing very well for lowering down or minimizing the independence of the dependence of the hard currency. President Sisi also, he said, reactivating the work and presidential pardon committee that was formed as one of the outcomes of the National Youth Congress, provided that it expands the work base in a cooperation with the relevant agencies and relevant civil society organization expressing his happiness and release of batches of Egyptians during the past days, and stressing that the nation accommodation everywhere in difference, in my opinion, this is what he said, it does not spoil the homeland. That means he's giving a message for the local, for the communities in Egypt, in different sectors, in different communities, wherever they are, that we would like to reveal the forgiveness, and we would like to be one unit at the end of the day, and that that's very important for healing whatever the hurt was. President Sisi also assigning the ministers, institutions, and agencies concerned to continue the work of exhibitions that contributed to providing basic commodities to citizens at the level of government of the public. That helps a lot, especially in the popular areas or the poor neighbors or neighborhoods where the government will supply products, commodities, whatever the commodity, whatever the product is, at a lower price than what's
But
usual.
allow me, to also say, not only for the poor, you can go to other places and supermarkets, or some supermarkets
That's
accepted
correct.
to cooperate with that and just give the goods in cheaper prices. Of course, they're not going to be affected by this. There is a limit, to their own benefits, but then, they're just, providing with less prices. So some people who can afford nearby, if they, you have to buy nearby, or other, who cannot go here or there, they buy nearby. But there are, tents and other places, actually outlets, that sell everything at cheaper prices. So
At initiative which is called Tahya Masr.
exactly.
This is spread everywhere in supermarkets,
Yes.
in special exhibitions.
Yeah,
and,
we do buy, like you get the best things, and from those, like you get it cheaper. If you want to get it, nearby, in the upscale neighborhood, and you're in a hurry, you don't have a car that time, or you cannot go anywhere, you buy it definitely. But then you go to the other places, the outlets, where you find everything at cheaper prices. At the end, you're just gonna benefit out of it, and it's you're going to get a lot less than what you get from other places.
That's correct. This is an initiative which is called Tahya Masr.
Yeah.
This is spread in the supermarkets, in the mall, in the groceries,
Of course.
which is participated in such initiative. Yes, but it's still, there is another kind of exhibitions which is being held in different neighbors, especially for that occasion, which is offering also for such neighbors lower prices.
Okay.
For helping out people from different categories and different lifestyles, which is great actually. And you can see it yourself, you can watch it yourself, you can touch it if you've been there.
Yeah.
President Sisi also he gave his directions to continue providing all basic commodities to citizens at subsidized prices until the end of this year. That means the government is still affording and paying for the difference between the actual price of the commodities, which
Subsidizing, still, the subsidies.
that's correct.
Yeah,
the difference between the actual
it's working.
prices and the current selling price for the commodities.
Of course.
Also, he assigned National Youth Congress administration in coordination with all political party and youth currents to manage a political dialogue on the priorities of the national action during the current stage, which means he is holding a national dialogue, forgetting all the people, all the Egyptian people in different communities and in different levels, for talking and having a real dialogue to get more, to have more involvement in the current, and to increase the awareness of the people. Also, President Sisi directed to submit results of the national dialogue to him personally, and pledges to attend the final stage of it. During such a dialogue, he pledged himself that, and he promised that he will be attending the final dialogue, which is going to happen in public. That means he wants to say that we still have transparency. We don't have a problem. We talk to each other. The communities and society is talking to each other, and the final results will be on public. Also, President Sisi assigned government to announce a clear plan to be adhered to reduce public debt as percentage of the national income, which is very important for minimizing the burden on the Egyptian government and consequently on the Egyptian people themselves. Also, he assigned the government to present an integrated vision for the advancement of the Egyptian stock exchange, which is very important because this is a kind of investment opportunities which is available for the foreign investors and local investors, and it reflects actually the confidence of the investors in the Egyptian government. Also, President El-Sisi assigned government to announce a program for private sector participation in state-owned assets with a target of $10 billion annually over a period of 4 years. This also gives a real confidence that the government doesn't like to play a role where the private sector is. We don't want to compete with the private sector.
Definitely.
All the companies are state-owned companies are available for the private sector for whomever would like to buy or to acquire and to work on. President El-Sisi assigning the government to start offering shares from state-owned companies on the Egyptian stock exchange, which means also that he is telling the people, because as long as you've been in a stock exchange, that means your numbers, your figures are on public. That means nothing will be nothing will be hidden, I'm sorry. And in the meantime, it gives the strength and more motivation for such companies to work more, work harder, to achieve positive results for the companies themselves. President Sisi also assigned the government to list the companies owned by the armed forces on the stock exchange before end of this year.
Yes.
Also, this is a very real and direct message and transparent message and give confidence for the people that even the army, the companies which belong to the army themselves, it will be in a stock exchange. That means, please, whomever would like to buy shares from armed companies, it's open. We don't have, the government doesn't have anything to hide. Also, the presidency is like to complete the payment of the private debts to a number of debtors and debitors. This will give an opportunity for the people who owns debts for the government itself to have more money. That means more flow of investment. Such people, such private sector will take it to relaunch again in other projects. President Sisi tasked with conducting a national dialogue with the political forces without exception or discrimination. That means he is saying we are all open for, we are all open-minded. We don't have any specific problems with any kind of communities or societies. So as long as such a community would like really to express his point of view and his opinions and for the sake of the country.
Yes, everybody's welcome to, for the sake of the country, to tell their opinion, definitely, and work on them.
All such directions, actually, it gives one message. We, the government, I mean the government, would like to say that the government, or we, as government, I mean, are supporting. You are not alone as Egyptian people. The community, the business community, you are not alone. We are trying to do our best for the sake of development, for the sake of recovering whatever is affecting the whole world. It's not only Egypt. And we are trying to work hard and work smart for overcoming such period and overcoming such problems. By this, if we've been later through the national projects, the mega projects which has been done, we will know more that the government is very serious about this.
Definitely. Well, like that also is really, like that to upgrade things, and definitely among the other developments that are taking place, of course, and the projects and everything that is taking place in order to well, develop Egypt and get better to the degree that we want our country to reach. But before going to this, we go for a short break. After we should be coming back. Don't go away. Stay tuned to us.
Minister of Trade and Industry Naveen Jama set a list of projects that will be implemented with the Emirati side within the framework of the partnership agreement between Egypt, Jordan and the United Arab Emirates. The list includes projects of fertilizers, petrochemicals, foodstuffs, textiles and medicines, according to statements by Naveen Jama to the Emirates news agency. The minister added that the timetable for implementing the plans agreed upon between the three countries will be implemented in 3 phases. On the sidelines of the Egyptian-Polish talks, the Polish president's visit to Cairo bears special importance because it will represent an opportunity for Egypt to hear a viewpoint very close to the Ukrainian one, because it is known that Poland is a neighboring country to Ukraine from the west and has long borders with it. On the other hand, Egypt's exports to Poland increased during the past year 2021 by 65.8% to a record $204.5 million compared to $123.4 million in 2020. The value of trade exchange between Egypt and Poland increased to $708.5 million in 2021 compared to $621.6 million in 2020, an increase of 14%. The value of Polish investments in Egypt amounted to $2.5 million during the first quarter of the fiscal year 2021-2022 compared to $900,000 during the same period of the fiscal year 2020-2021, an increase of 177.8%. Yesterday, the National Bank of Egypt and Egypt suspended the issuance of an 18% certificate with a term of 3 years after it collected savings of £750 billion. The cancellation of an 18% certificate and the introduction of an alternative certificate caused a change in the map of savings certificates in banks. Whereas Nasser Social Bank announced the launch of a 3-year savings certificate with a return of up to 15% annually, which is the highest among Egyptian banks. The interest offered on the certificate ranges between 15%, the return is paid annually, and 14.25% is paid quarterly, and 14% is paid monthly, in the interest of the bank to give the highest return in the banking market and to continue its policy towards achieving financial inclusion and digital transformation to stimulate savings thought. Reuters news agency announced that Egypt's exports of natural and liquefied gas jumped by 98% during the first 4 months of this year, on an annual basis, recording $3.892 billion. According to the data, the value of Egypt's natural gas exports increased during 2021 by 768.2% to reach $3.959 billion compared to $456 million in 2020. Egyptian oil exports made a big jump last year, reaching 84.3% on an annual basis to approach $13 billion. The value of Egypt's oil exports was $7 billion in 2020. During her participation in the inaugural session of the activities of the 6th edition of the conference, Egyptian Industry Minister of Trade and Industry Naveen Jama reviewed a number of positive indicators about the industrial sector in Egypt, which comes at the forefront of the economic sectors. as it contributes 11.7% to the GDP, and we aim to reach 15% during the coming period. It is known that the industrial sector absorbs about 28.2% of the total Egyptian workforce, and its investments amounted to about £49 billion during the fiscal year 2020-2021, which represents about 6% of the total public investments, in addition to the rise in the value of industrial output to about £982 billion in 2021. The Egyptian General Authority for Mineral Resources announced the results of the global bid for gold and minerals in the Eastern Desert for the year 2020 in its second round. In a statement, the authority indicated that 8 regions were assigned to 4 English, Canadian, and Egyptian companies. The result of the second round of bidding represents a success in attracting new investments despite the successive global challenges represented by the corona pandemic, then the Russian-Ukrainian crisis with the negative repercussions on the global economy, and the injection of investments according to the authority's statement. It is noteworthy that in the first round of the bidding, 82 areas in the Eastern Desert were awarded to 11 Egyptian and international companies. The Suez Canal Authority Economic Zone has signed a memorandum of understanding with the German company H2 Industries, specialized in energy storage, to establish the first plant for converting waste into green hydrogen in the economic zone, with investments amounting to about $4 billion. The plant will have a production capacity of 300,000 tons per year of green hydrogen, and it is located in East Port Said. The head of the economic zone, Yahya Zaki, said that the clean energy industries are based on the availability of components owned by the economic zone, especially the integrated areas of Sokhna and East Port Said.
We're back again to Money Means Business with our guest, Dr. Nabil Abdel. We only have 3 minutes, good time spy, with the Druaysat and the New St. Catherine development and other development, of course, plans and actually that are right now work done on them.
Before we say this, before we talk about this, let's confirm one message which was clear from the President, and it's a clear message we should all follow, and it should be a lifestyle for all of us.
Yeah.
All the directions, the 16 directions which the President has stated in Ramadan Iftar,
Yeah.
the clear message was we have to work, we have to work, we have to work. That means everybody, every human being, every Egyptian is living on the Egyptian land.
In this new republic?
Yes, in this new republic. It's a new republic for work. It's
Yes.
not a new republic by wasting time. It's work. In the meantime, confirming to the messages and directions which has been stated in Ramadan, a lot of projects is being done and has been done.
Yeah.
Starting from Suez Canal to different
But
projects.
let's go quickly over the Druaysat and the airport at St. Catherine, the new development.
This is what's called sustainable development.
Yeah.
This is what the government has been confirming and stating, and they have stated that we need sustainable development. That's why there are visits from time to time continuously to such areas, yeah, to confirm that the country is really serious about investing and having a sustainable development for the economy in such areas. And if you have been if you look at the projects and the locations where the projects are being done, you will find it in all the governorates. It's not in every city.
Definitely.
It's not only in Cairo right now. Mm-hmm. It's not like what was being done before, but it's work and projects in every country, in every governorate and in every city, especially in Sinai.
Yeah.
And
That
all
was
such-
actually marginalized for a long time. Now, you know,
That's
it's like,
correct.
again,
That's correct. It's
it's
sustainable.
innovative.
Sustainable. That means we're working not only for today's result
Yeah.
or now's result, but we're working for future future development everywhere.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mawla. We came to the end of this show. So as we go along, we always have the pleasure having you with us.
The pleasure was mine. Thank you, and thanks for your audience.
Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
I'd like also to thank our viewers for being here. We'll see you again next week. As for now, God bless Egypt. God bless Egyptians. God bless our president, our army, our white army, our police. And God bless the world. And as we quote from the Holy Quran, ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين. Enter Egypt, God willing, safe, and from the Holy Bible, Mubarak Sha'bi Misr. Blessed be Egypt by people. And I'm Nermin Nazim. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week in the New Republic. Goodbye for now.